pretty substantial one here. LGR Blerbs video here about a really fascinating looking keyboard that I haven't actually seen in person yet, but the pictures looked interesting. This is a Reborn67 keyboard. I've been quite a fan of modern recreations of old keyboards or new keyboards that are very much inspired by old ones. So like the new Model F keyboard, or even the Unicomp keyboards, which are, that's sort of, it is old, but it's also new. And like Vortex, and there's just different companies doing those. This is a little bit different in the sense that it's not actually, well, let me just show you. The company got in touch a while back and just said, hey, we think you might like this. And they were right. I mean, I think, from the pictures I've seen. And yeah, said it wasn't inspired by anything specific, but was meant to evoke that kind of retro vintage vibe while still being very much its own thing. And you know what? I'm down. Toshi Industrial Design? Yeah, it's not like a paid for, financially backed video or anything. They just sent me one of these, no strings attached, and said, you want to make a video about it? Go right ahead. I did not purchase this, no matter what the sticker says. So keep that in mind. Oh. Okay. Okay. Well, this is so heavy. I don't know if this is a wrist rest or what, but I have a note here about joints, a bunch of extra little parts or add-ons, or yeah, don't mind that. There's construction happening here. I gotta record when I can. Oh yeah, look at that. So I don't know if this is an additional plate or an extra, or like, something you're supposed to swap out to your preference. I'll have to look it up. I know these come in different like kit forms or whatever. As far as I know, this is all pre-assembled. Yeah, except for the keycaps. My goodness. Yeah, this is just by far the most substantial feeling modern keyboard that I've come across, other than like the new Model Fs. And this is ridiculous. It feels just like an absolute solid piece of metal. Other than I'm noticing some pretty substantial board flex, or at least this top part of it. There's a heck of a lot of flex going on right there. There's all this stuff. I don't actually know what all it is for, though. I'm assuming for mounting that. But yeah, the only documentation I have is this thing, and that doesn't seem to pertain to anything since it's already assembled. I'll look online to see if there's a manual. And they did also send some keycaps, something that looked pretty lovely from what I saw in the photos. So yeah, red, gray, green. There were a bunch of different options that they had available for this. Yeah, I guess WINMIX, I keep wanting to say WinMX. That was a program back in the day, wasn't it? WINMIX does it all themselves, right? Which is kind of cool. A lot of times these will rely on like third-party keycaps or something. I don't actually know what kind of switches those are. So they are SP Star branded. So SP Star Meteor Orange. And you got a 5-pin PCB MX stem structure, 57 grams actuation force, similar to the MX Browns, which I don't really like, but at least it's not fully linear or smooth. There is some tactility, but yeah, I'm just a clicky person. Oh yeah. Again, not really based on anything particular, but definitely inspired by a lot of like retro terminals, like 1970s, the era kind of stuff. The slick shininess of it. And it's also that particular design, they call it GSA profile, but yeah, I don't know. It's slightly different than anything I've ever used. And oh, wow. A bunch of extras. Quite nice to have. All right, hopefully there's some information on all these extra parts on the website. I guess it's still not out. I actually don't know what the final cost is going to be of this or anything. I'm told around $500. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't even know if that's for like the kit, just bare bones. I don't know if that includes keycaps, probably not. So that is definitely a wrist rest. And there's kind of how it goes on there, but again, lack of instructions, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I guess that just attaches maybe to prevent it from sliding around, because yeah, there's no Oh, there's like spots for feet. Are there feet in here? I don't know. Are these feet? I wish anything was labeled. Or just something was in here to tell me what's up. Like, yeah, even this doesn't say what's in there. Yeah, whatever. Let's do these keycaps. Man, that flex is not getting any better. Even up against the edges, it's not just the middle, like the whole thing is just flexy. By comparison, this has been my daily keyboard for as long as I've had it. Keycarn Q1, and like, you can press on that as much as you want, and there is no flex on that board. That's the way I like it. As little as possible. This feels like a cheap membrane or something. Like, this is weird. I just realized that this doesn't have a function key row. Oh, I don't like that at all. Okay, well, it's been some time. Yeah, I've had this a few, well, it's probably been about a month now. I kind of lost track of time. I've been away at a computer festival and doing other projects. Anyway, here's kind of what happened and why I forgot about it. I don't like this keyboard at all. Well, okay, let me just get the good things out of the way, which you can probably expect. It's heavy, and that's cool. The metallic construction of the main body is neat. That's about it. That's about it. I mean, I guess the keycaps are kind of cool, but the more I've used them, the more I don't like them, and also am confused by a lot of the legends on here, just like, they're very busy and they don't need to be. Plus the inconsistency of some of the things is like, why you got the colon semicolon down there, but your quote and apostrophe up in there? And like, I thought I put that on backwards when I first did that. And of course, the whole lack of function keys, a function row, really gets in the way of my productivity and the way I use keyboards. You know what? Let me just kind of start over here. Okay, so the good. It's heavy. It weighs this much. I like heavy keyboards, okay? I don't want it to move around on my desk, and it sure as heck doesn't. Now, I tried using the wrist rest, just sort of like plopping it down there. I don't like it. It's cold and metal, and it's got these grates on it, and there's nothing comfortable about that, especially because you cannot adjust the angle that the keyboard sits at. It's like 7 degrees, I think, just all the time. So I didn't ever bother attaching that. And you know what? I still don't know what some of these things are on here. Like, for instance, these like rolls, as they say, roll 1 and roll 2. You can unscrew them, but there's nothing in there. They're not volume or anything. They're just aesthetic, which I guess everything about this really is. Like, why is this here? Why is this here? What are these? They do nothing. None of this does anything. Which, if you're into that, then fine. It doesn't really need a purpose. What it does need is to be good at being a keyboard, and it just simply isn't. For one thing, there is that flex. I just cannot believe how much this entire thing like warps around, and it doesn't fill me with any kind of confidence at all. I just don't like that. The keycaps themselves being so slick, I've never really had them like that before, and well, now I know that I never want them because I don't. They get oil on them, you know, and doesn't matter how clean your fingers are, they're just gross. These are nice; they have that nice matte finish to them, but yeah, nope, don't like those slick keycaps, and now I know that. The switches are okay for being not clicky like I like, so whatever. But they're fine. I've had no complaints with them. Well, except for the fact that I think 0? No, it's minus. That's right. Doesn't work at all. It's never worked. This key switch just doesn't do anything. I'm taking it out. It looks fine. I think it's just a defective one. So that sucks. Another thing that's unfortunate is, well, you know, we've got these keys over here, and I like to map them to insert, delete, home, and end, just for my workflow, right? Well, unfortunately, I couldn't do that because this is not recognized in VIA or VIA or whatever. It's supposed to be compatible with it. It says that it is on the website, but if you look under the VIA compatible keyboards list for the latest version, firmware, whatever, it's straight up not there, so the web interface does not connect to it. I'm assuming that it's coming in the future, and so you'd have to use QMK right now, but I was so fed up with all the other parts of the keyboard. It feels so cheap when you're actually typing on it. It's mind-boggling, really, because again, there's so much going on here with the heft of this. It's really just impressive on that first picking it up and being like, wow, this thing is gonna be great. And it simply doesn't live up to that initial impression of the build quality. It's just bizarre. It almost makes me think that it's intentional, or this is a choice that was made. I just don't know. Am I completely missing the point? Is it supposed to be super flexy? If it is, I just straight up don't like it, and that's where it comes down to, right? And I know that's for a lot of things here. Like, sure, I would love to have a function key row, but that's just not this style of keyboard. That's fine. Some people love this particular layout. It's just not for me. Same with the keycaps. Initially, they looked pretty great. I now know that they are not for me. The thing is, though, like, even if we changed the layout to something that was ideal for what I like to have and got much better keycaps, heck, replace all the switches with nice clicky switches that I prefer, it still would be inherently flawed because of just everything that is inside there holding this up, or I guess not holding it up. I don't know. The feel of it. Just do not like, especially at $500. I do like the idea of having like retro-inspired keyboards that aren't necessarily a recreation of an exact model of old keyboard. But this ain't it. In fact, this keycap that came with it, I mean, I couldn't believe that y'all included this. But yeah, right there. Don't waste your money.